Now, welcome Johnna Powell from New York. She is the head professional services, ConsenSys. She is a global co-head within ConsenSys, the largest pure-play blockchain studio. She has served a number of Fortune 500 clients on various parts of their blockchain journey, from ideation all the way through the product build. Worked on a number of blockchain initiatives with more than 15 of the world's largest financial institutions, including design of a platform to enable lifecycle management of digital securities and digital as issuance platform. Over to you, Johnna. Go ahead.
Great. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. So first of all, I am so excited to be sharing thoughts on such an incredible topic. Blockchain technology, and in particular, Ethereum and DeFi have been so explosive over this year. And in my humble opinion, it's really the most exciting space to work in right now. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, I hope everybody can see my screen. Let me know if you cannot. All right, so the topic for my talk is predictions for Ethereum, DeFi, and beyond in 2021. And what I'm going to be talking about is digital currencies, how it started, how it's going, drivers of the digital asset boom, why Ethereum and where it's headed, an overview of DeFi and NFTs, and finally, where we're headed in 2021. So digital currencies, how it started. The birth of digital currencies and blockchain technology was really only 10 years ago. And as expected, there have been a lot of bumps along the way, from both Bitcoin and Ethereum being hacked in the early days to nearly killing the future life of digital assets as we know it, to executives from large-scale corporations, institutions, and financial advisors basically declaring Bitcoin and blockchain technology dead several times over. So headlines have indicated that many analysts and executives simply saw no value proposition at all for Bitcoin and blockchain technology or cryptocurrencies. You can see notably Jamie Dimon saying Bitcoin is a fraud, eventually it will be closed. Goldman Sachs saying Bitcoin is never coming back. Cryptocurrencies are neither a medium of exchange nor a unit of measurement or a store of value. Bitcoin has died 395 times according to Bitcoin obituary. So you get the point. So we've seen this before in the 90s. I'm just going to share a little clip to show just how analogous this is to where we were in 1995. I'll just share a few seconds of this.
But you know, I think about this, and what about this internet thing? Do you know anything about that?
Sure.
What the hell is that exactly?
Well, it's become a place where people are publishing information.
Right.
So everybody can have their own homepage. Companies are there. The latest information. It's wild what's going on. You can send electronic mail to people. It is the big new thing.
Yeah, but you know, it's easy to criticize something you don't fully understand, which is my position here.
Go ahead.
But I can remember a couple of months ago, there was like a big breakthrough announcement that on the internet or on some computer deal, they were going to broadcast a baseball game. You could listen to a baseball game on your computer. And I just thought to myself, does radio ring a bell?
So, as you can imagine, it was difficult even for Bill Gates to describe the value proposition of the internet to David Letterman. And sometimes the reason for this is you just have to experience the value for yourself. And I see a lot of similarities in this as well as in blockchain.
But you know, I think about this.
The next slide. But we also know how it turned out. So as one says, a picture is worth 1,000 words. From 1998 to 2017, Jeff Bezos went from selling books to essentially delivering unprecedented innovation to customers. And his company quite literally changed the lives of most people in the modern world. So digital currencies, how is it going for us in blockchain in 2021? So we have three categories of major adoption. One is that we have massive institutions who are developing or offering blockchain solutions. And just to name a few, PayPal is offering cryptocurrency purchases to its base of 300 million customers, and also cryptocurrency funding as a source for digital commerce to its 26 million merchants. Visa partnered with a fiat to crypto on-ramp service provider Simplex to issue debit cards. Fidelity has a crypto custody solution. Goldman Sachs actually just recently issued an RFI to explore and enter the crypto market soon with a custody play, according to CoinDesk. We know JP Morgan is extremely active in this area, having developed JPM Coin for settlements, and they just recently announced that they've completed a blockchain-based repo transaction. China, I'm sure you've all heard that it is the first nation to develop and launch a central bank digital currency, the digital yuan, across the country. We also know that BBVA has announced custody services. So many, many more of these types of announcements exist, and we're practically hearing news of new players every few days. The second category is unprecedented institutional investments, including MicroStrategy with a $1 billion Bitcoin investment. Morgan Stanley now has just announced that they own approximately an 11% stake in MicroStrategy, presumably to have exposure to the Bitcoin asset. Grayscale has $20 billion in cryptocurrency assets, including predominantly Bitcoin and Ethereum, and they're currently buying more Bitcoin than is being mined right now. Mass Mutual has just announced a $100 million investment in Bitcoin, and this is huge for a company that specializes in risk. There are several other examples of companies who are currently monitoring the market, who have inquired and expressed interest in investing in digital assets, including Elon Musk, including the mayor of Miami, indicating that he'd be interested in potentially investing part of the treasury of Miami in Bitcoin. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink has been either neutral to positive about Bitcoin lately, and many, many more. So again, we're hearing news of new participants nearly every day. Finally, we have a frenzy of applications and tools for the retail market that have gone way beyond a white paper and are currently highly useful technologies that over 1 million people currently use. I'm just going to check AirMeet. Okay, making sure that everyone can see my screen. Okay, so what are the drivers of the current digital assets market? What's interesting about 2020 and 2021 is we essentially have had a perfect storm for a major bull market, starting with a black swan event that nobody was expecting except perhaps Bill Gates himself, who's talked a lot about global pandemics. But COVID changed the world as we know it, of course, and hyper-accelerated trends such as digitization, the wealth gap, increasing debt burdens, and the dollar devaluation due to governments using central banks to create fiscal stimulus, and many others. And that brings us to monetary and fiscal policy. So, of course, we know there's too much debt. Trillions of dollars have been printed in 2020. We'll see the same trend in 2021 as governments have had to step in and backstop our economies to keep us on life support. So this is an interesting fact that I think some of you may know, some of you may not. More than 20% of all the dollars in existence that have ever been printed were printed in 2020. So the dollar's value has significantly declined and will continue to decline with increasing fiscal stimulus and decreasing interest rates. And that's not just now, that has been a trend ever since 1913, where the dollar has lost 99% of its value. And we've already been living in a disinflationary world where wages have stagnated, and this environment will only accelerate the decline of the purchasing power of the US dollar, leading people to seek deflationary assets that will provide more yield. So cryptocurrencies and services within DeFi offer attractive solutions to this. On regulation and regulatory catalysts, more regulatory clarity has come in the last year, including friendly regulation as well as negative regulation, but at least a regulatory framework provides more clarity. So just a couple of examples of that. The Office of the Comptroller of Currency in the US, the OCC, issued a letter that states that national banks have the authority to provide custody services for customers with respect to cryptocurrency and other digital assets. The SEC declared Bitcoin and Ether are not securities, And the cryptocurrency exchange Kraken just last week obtained a special purpose depository institution license from Wyoming to become the first licensed bank to provide deposit taking, custody, and fiduciary services for digital assets. So what that means is cryptocurrency exchanges are now becoming banks, making it nearly impossible for banks to avoid servicing the digital assets market. There has been some negative regulation. The UK banned derivatives trading, but the bottom line is that there will always be regulatory hurdles. But the existence of regulation certainly is a step in the right direction, as they provide a framework that can be molded and modified. Technical momentum. So we've seen significant technical momentum in blockchain technology since the 2017 ICO craze. In particular, ICOs were just white papers and a promise to build something useful and value creating. But none of these projects or protocol had proven substantial value back in 2017. In 2019 and 2020, many of these key projects came into fruition, provided and continue to provide real use and value for retail and enterprise consumers, including DeFi applications such as Aave, Uniswap, YFI, and other DeFi applications. In addition, we have ETH 2.0, the launch of ETH 2.0, for which phase 0 has already launched, the beacon chain, and has been very successful and now has over 2 million Ether staked on the network. So many other projects are already built, they're already being used in a meaningful way, which is a fruitful outcome of the bear market following the 2017 ICO craze, when developers invested their time being heads down in building the technology. So the final driver that helps pull together this potion of this kind of perfect storm is market cycle. Including fundamentals such as stock to flow. So bull market timing has been on our side in 2020 and 2021 as we've just come out of a long bear market. In May 2020, we had the Bitcoin halvening, in which the new Bitcoin supplied to Bitcoin miners as a mining reward was cut in half. Over the last 10 years, this decrease in supply typically is followed by a substantial bull market that begins around 6 months after the halvening and can last anywhere from 6 months to a year or more. Halvenings are written into the Bitcoin protocol, and they can happen. They happen approximately every 4 years. So Bitcoin bull runs have always followed these, and they've always been followed by other altcoin bull runs as well, including, of course, Ethereum. So 2020 and 2021 have been primed for a bull market anyway. So what does all this mean? All signs have led to mega adoption in 2020 and beyond. And when I'm talking about adoption, I'm talking about blockchain technology as a whole, but predominantly Ethereum. And why is it so? Well, Ethereum aims to be the world's computer in Web 3.0, the natural progression from the original internet. So Ethereum is decentralized, it's open source, it's a distributed computing platform that enables the creation of smart contracts and decentralized applications known as dApps. So this is a killer feature that goes well beyond the capability of Bitcoin. And so I think the CTFC chairman, Dr. Heath Tarbert, said it best when he said, if Bitcoin is email, Ethereum is the internet. And he had said, full stop, period. So where is Ethereum headed? Ethereum 2.0, essentially the goal, if the goal of Ethereum is to be the base settlement layer for the world, then we need to do that in a sustainable way and in a scalable way. So from a sustainability perspective, of course, proof of work is not that because of its power consumption. And from a scalability perspective, we need to handle the throughput of transactions that are required to be the planetary settlement layer. So Ethereum addresses this through two tracks. Proof of stake consensus mechanism handles the sustainability issue, and sharding handles the scalability issue. Proof of stake is a protocol that secures the network through economics rather than through mining, and sharding helps improve scalability through distributing transaction load across the network. And the general roadmap is, first, we start with phase 0. That's what we've already launched. That's the beacon chain. And that enables essentially a proof of concept for proof of stake. And it allows validators to stake their ETH on it. Sharding will be added to that in the next phase 1 of ETH 2.0. And Ethereum 1, the proof of work chain, will be running alongside ETH 2 in parallel, as is, with no change, until we reach a transition point, where we bring Ethereum 1 onto Ethereum 2, and from then on is proof of stake on the Ethereum 2 chain. So this slide is Ethereum by the numbers. Why Ethereum is the blockchain of choice for DeFi applications. I won't read all of these, but it should become fairly clear that Ethereum is by far and away the strongest blockchain network with the strongest community, with essentially all of the numbers on its side, tried and true. Ethereum is the first blockchain to settle $1 trillion in a year. Ethereum is the most attractive blockchain, most active, blockchain community with 300,000 developers and infrastructure experts. There are 128 million unique addresses on Ethereum. And according to DeFiPrime.com, 94% of the top DeFi apps are built on Ethereum. And financial applications on Ethereum hold about $22 billion worth of assets. So, like I said, Ethereum is tried and true. It's battle tested over several years. The security is second to none, and it has the largest community of developers and infrastructure experts. So what is DeFi? DeFi is an intriguing and fertile field of innovation. It essentially takes the current familiar concepts of centralized finance, reprograms them, redesigns them, and combines them into interoperable projects that are more innovative and rewarding for users. So some of the most interesting projects in the DeFi ecosystem are decentralized exchanges, or DEXs for short, where you can trade your assets through a protocol that removes a third-party intermediary. And all exchange rules are then programmed into a smart contract. Additionally, there's decentralized lending, where you can lend or borrow at rates that are attractive to you based on your capital goals. And finally, there's automated issuance of servicing workflows, and that's powered by smart contracts as well. So DeFi has grown explosively over the last year. We've seen a 10x in user growth from 100,000 users in January 2020 to 1.2 million DeFi users in 2021. We've seen a 20x growth rate in collateral deployed. So $23 billion of collateral is locked, which basically means people are locking their assets in order to take loans out from decentralized lending platforms. And that's versus 846 million that was locked in January 2020. So huge growth. One particularly interesting area of DeFi is yield farming. So let me just walk you through a scenario here. So lenders who use yield farming can benefit from lending assets because lending to a specific protocol can earn you a yield. So let's say you earn 10% on a particular cryptocurrency. And the reason you earn 10% on a particular cryptocurrency is because someone else wants to borrow it and they're willing to pay more, for example, 15%. So borrowers will borrow at a 15% rate because they believe capital appreciation of whatever they buy with the asset would be greater than 15%, for example. And what they can do with that is they can either hold it or they can put it into liquidity mining. So that would mean that you deposit tokens into a decentralized exchange liquidity pool. Could receive incentive tokens by way of a protocol governance token. And in some cases, depending on price actions, these incentives can make borrowing costs negative. So that's yield farming. And what does that do? I mean, essentially that results in decentralized exchange volume growing over 1,000%. We've just seen explosive growth of all of these protocols. You can see Uniswap, Gnosis, Protocol Balance, or Oasis, and so on. Just really showing explosive growth from about 6 months ago to now. And lending protocols as well have seen explosive growth. So what you can see on this slide is some of the, essentially 3 of the largest lending protocols, Aave, MakerDAO, and Compound. And we've seen growth even just from August 2020, moving from about $2 billion in total locked value to $10 billion in total locked value. So this is actually quite huge. Lending protocols account for 38% of the total lock value in Ethereum. 98% of lending total lock value is concentrated in the top 5 protocols. And it's grown, TVL, or total value locked, has grown 650% since January of this year. And total estimated revenues in 2020 from these protocols is approximately $23 million. And that's actually a very interesting value proposition for all of these protocols, is that they are revenue generating protocols. So there are analogous protocols for essentially every centralized financial instrument. So we encounter financial instruments in banking, in capital markets, et cetera. And every financial industry and instrument and product is currently being recreated on a programmable chain in DeFi. The reason why that is, well, it's a programmable chain. So developers and financial entrepreneurs are flexing their creative muscles here. And they're getting really interested in developing, replicating, and reimagining anything that anyone else has already built to have similar and nuanced functionality. So what we have are insurance applications, options and derivatives, various programmable payment software, and increasing sophistication that is just really growing up around this ecosystem before our eyes. And what we see with NFTs is the opportunities are really exploding. And you're going to hear a lot more about NFTs in some of the following talks. But what are NFTs? They're non-fungible tokens that are cryptographic that represent scarcity. So they can represent anything from art to real estate to digital collectibles or gaming items or insurance claims and much, much more. And there are a lot of platforms right now that offer these NFTs, and some of the most popular NFT trading platforms are Nifty Gateway, that's created by the Winklevoss twins, Rarible, Super Rare, OpenSea, and many, many others. And what is the evidence of growth? Well, December 2020 saw $10 million in NFT sales. That was a 115% growth over the previous month. And total unique users grew over 200% from the previous month. So we're really seeing a massive explosion in NFTs. It's a huge opportunity. And I imagine that it's only going to grow much, much more explosively in 2021. So just some examples of the NFTs that we're seeing in the space are, for example, Axie Infinity. Axie Infinity's Angel, which is in gaming, is one of 19. So it's actually quite scarce in the Axie Infinity game. That actually sold for $194,000. Axie Infinity is a digital pet universe where players can earn tokens by collecting and battling fantasy creatures called Axies. There's insurance, where you can get the 500 or 5,000 ETH cover NFT as an insurance NFT that's based on whyinsure.finance. It's a project of Yearn Finance. And so what this NFT does is it grants the owner insurance against smart contract errors on the curve.fi protocol in the amount of 5,000 ETH. So this NFT cost 350 ETH. That was approximately $226 at the time it sold. There's a digital artist called Beeple who just broke every single NFT sales record. He recently sold a collection of artwork for nearly $800,000 on Nifty Gateway. And as I mentioned, Nifty Gateway is owned by the Winklevoss twins. I actually bought one of his pieces of art, much, much, much less expensive pieces of art, but it is such an intriguing opportunity. It just kind of draws people in. And who can forget CryptoKitties from 2017? These are the unique collectible digital cats. This one is basically the most expensive of the CryptoKitties that have sold. It was $390,000, the Dragon CryptoKitty. And finally, esports is soon to come. There are some esports applications on NFTs right now, but it's only going to be getting bigger. The OG Esports just announced an NFT collection in partnership with Nifty Gateway. That's going to drop on January 23rd. So I'd encourage everyone to check that out. So really, really interesting space in NFTs. So finally, where do we think we're going in 2021? So I just want to talk about a meta point first, and that's that we should assume that macro trends with respect to fiscal stimulus are going to likely continue. So that's going to lead to increased demand for deflationary and yield-producing assets, continuing growth in DeFi as well as other spaces related to blockchain technology. The ETH 2.0 transition, I believe, will come much more quickly than expected. So what that means is proof of stake mechanism could come by the end of the year rather than in more than 2 years, which has been previously communicated. So according to Ben Edgington, who is a product manager for ETH 2.0, it's looking likely that roll-ups could actually provide much of the scalability for Ethereum even before ETH 2.0 is fully delivered. So that will allow the Ethereum developer community to deliver on a three-pronged attack in 2021. And he's written this in a Medium article, or I believe a Block article. And so this three-pronged attack will be the merge between ETH 1 and ETH 2, sharding and light clients. And in the new model, these are independent tasks that can proceed together. So in fact, he mentioned that they're looking at implementing a testnet within the next few weeks. So that is extremely exciting. The next piece is value realization. So I strongly believe that the value proposition of Ethereum technology will be increasingly recognized by institutions and retail as much as Bitcoin was in 2020. The price could expand by 2 to 3x or much more. And additionally, the value of DeFi protocols will increasingly be recognized, in turn increasing the price and usage of native tokens. We're also going to see adoption of Ethereum technology. This is in CBDCs, this is in just platform technology in general. So enterprise, private, and mainnet Ethereum will increasingly become the platform backbone for major financial institutions. They're talking about it every single day. They will increasingly begin offering digital assets, financial services that are akin to DeFi innovations seen in 2020. And finally, beyond DeFi, NFTs will continue their explosive trajectory. They'll move beyond crypto art into celebrity and brand collectibles, esports, music contracts, and other contractual ownership models, and we're already seeing that now. So in short, it's a really incredible time with lots and lots of opportunities. I'm super excited about it. I hope everybody else here is. And that concludes my talk, so thank you so much for attending. I'll hand it back to Raj.
Thank you, Johnna. It was an excellent insight. Current predictions and the scenario regarding NFTs and DeFi. Thanks for coming and look forward in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, end this session. Thank you.
Thank you.